standing stuff. All right, you mugs, let's show them our getaway power.
You remember the engines, the dust clouds, Dick Dastardly shouting drat, drat and double drat. We didn't just watch Wacky Races, we lived inside that Saturday morning noise. Cartoon mayhem that felt halfway between a Looney Tune and a demolition derby. Behind that laughter, the truth was much stranger. Half the cast spun off into their own shows. The show's ending didn't even have a winner, and the whole thing was based on a Stanley Kramer movie about greed and destruction. From voice actor chaos to banned segments and international rewrites, these are 30 of the strangest stories from Hanna-Barbera's wildest cartoon. Stay till the end, because Fact 30 reveals the race that never aired. Fact 1, the movie that started it all. It began with a chase. 1963's It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Chaos on wheels. Hanna-Barbera watched it and saw gold. A comedy about greed became the seed of Wacky Races.
Here is Rufus Roughcut, one of the hottest wacky racers.
They stripped out the morals, kept the madness. Every racer was a cartoon of human failure. Dick Dastardly, ego with an engine. Penelope Pitstop, beauty in pink smoke. The show launched in 1968, a time when America was burning and laughing. It was rebellion in color, no heroes, no peace, just noise. As kids, we just saw cars, but it was satire, thinly disguised as slapstick, a race with no end.
Oh no! Not again!
A joke with no punchline, and that's why it still works. Chaos never ages. Fact 2, a race without a winner. Every week, the flag dropped. Every week, no one really won. That was the secret. Wacky Races had no true ending. Hanna-Barbera wanted fairness. Each racer got a turn in the spotlight. The editors shuffled winners like cards in a deck. No hierarchy, just motion. That made Dastardly's losses sting even more. He could cheat, trick, and scheme. Fate didn't care. The universe refused to let him cross first. Kids laughed. Adults felt it because life felt the same way. It is the running, failing, starting again. It wasn't about victory. It was about persistence. That's why we remember it. Not for who won, but for who kept racing. The finish line was never real. And that's the point. Fact 3. One man, 12 voices. One studio, one mic, and one man losing his mind. Mel Blanc.
Hey, you lumps. Do you know who lives here?
He voiced half the show alone. Peter Perfect, the Red Max, Dick Dastardly, all blank.
The life of Sad Sack.
He switched voices mid-sentence, arguing with himself. Sometimes he laughed so hard the takes stayed in. Even Muttley's wheezing laugh came from a mistake, a cough caught on tape. They looped it, immortalized it. That snicker became Saturday morning's anthem. As kids, we thought it was a crowd. It was one genius, trapped in chaos. The sound of Wacky Races wasn't mechanical. It was human breath turned into noise. Every voice was a fragment of Mel's madness, and every laugh a spark of unfiltered creativity. Fact 4, the man behind the mustache. Dick Dastardly didn't come from cartoons, he came from cinema's villains. British actor Terry Thomas was his blueprint, and the mustache, the grin, the sneer. Animators exaggerated everything. The goggles, the purple coat, the curled lip. He was evil so theatrical it looped back to comedy. He always failed, always blamed Muttley, but you couldn't hate him. He was too human, too certain he'd win next time. That's why he outlived the others. He became the model for cartoon villains everywhere.
What's that?
Failure turned into charm. Dastardly was ambition without direction. Every drat was a confession. He wasn't racing others. He was racing his own ego. Fact 5. Every car was a secret pilot. It looked like chaos, but Hanna-Barbera was testing the future. Every racer hid a prototype show. 11 cars, 11 ideas. The gruesome twosome. Horror comedy. Penelope Pitstop. Adventure parody. Dastardly and Muttley. Villains sitcom. Whichever got the most fan mail got its own spin-off. Kids thought it was random fun. It was data collection disguised as mayhem.
Hiya, I think my little old fingernail polish is dry now.
The studio didn't just animate cars, they built a testing ground for brands. Wacky Races wasn't one show, it was 11 pilots colliding, and somehow it worked. Chaos made clarity. From tire smoke came an empire. Fact 6 in the loop that never ended. You've seen it, the dust, the spin, the same crash again, because Wacky Races never stopped reusing itself.
Here, Sheriff, have a cigar. Now, what's the charge?
Frames were copied, flipped, and looped. Animation recycled like clockwork. They had tiny budgets, deadlines that laughed at reason, so they built a system, make motion eternal. The cars never really moved forward, they just circled in memory. Kids never noticed. Adults didn't care. That repetition became the rhythm, a hypnotic pulse that made chaos feel alive. Each loop whispered the same truth. This world resets over and over. No progress, just the illusion of speed, and that's why it stuck. We were watching eternity disguised as slapstick. Fact 7. The episodes that shuffled themselves. 1 week, the Slag Brothers won. Next week, they didn't exist. Continuity, forget it. Editors rearranged every episode like a deck of mismatched cards. They wanted balance, no favorite racer.
Drat, and a double drat.
So they swapped winners, clipped endings, stitched chaos into order. Every rerun felt new because it was new. It made no sense, but it made perfect television. Every Saturday felt like déjà vu with a laugh track missing. Years later, historians tried restoring the real order. There wasn't one. The race had no timeline, just loops of noise and color. Maybe that's the point. In Wacky Races, no one remembers what came before. They just keep driving. Fact 8. Penelope's vanishing accent. Listen close. Her voice shifts mid-season.
Thank y'all, boys. Heavens, I do declare my hair's a perfect match.
Southern one episode, British the next. That wasn't character growth, that was confusion. 2 actresses recorded her lines separately. Schedules clashed, credits blurred, and the studio didn't fix it. They figured kids wouldn't care. They were right. The result? Penelope sounded like 2 people trapped in one pink car, half charm, half chaos. But that imperfection worked. Her dual tone made her unpredictable, sweet and sharp, like a character racing herself. Later they stabilized her voice for the spin-off, but the damage, or magic, was done. That fractured accent made her real. Even cartoons need a little inconsistency to feel alive. Fact 9. Real cars, real speed, those slides, those drifts. They looked too good because they were. The animators traced real race footage frame by frame. Old newsreels, European rally films, grainy tire smoke, all stolen for reference. That's why the cars have weight, dust, and friction. They weren't drawn from imagination, they were copied from chaos. It gave the cartoon realism hidden in absurdity. Kids thought it looked fast. Adults recognized real motion, just exaggerated and looped. Sometimes the traced frames warped off model, wheels stretched, roads bent. It made everything dreamlike.
High enough, master? I didn't...
Wacky Races moved like memory. Part film, part hallucination. That's not an accident. That's genius born from budget panic. Fact 10. The song that forgot its words. You know the theme. That blaring horn. That rhythm that feels like Saturday. But here's the twist. It never had lyrics. The composer wrote nonsense placeholders. Ba-da, ba-da, go, go, go. Just timing notes. The singers scattered through fake syllables. They planned to replace it later. They never did. The gibberish stayed, became legend. It sounded chaotic, breathless, alive, like the show itself. It never stopped to explain. Kids hummed it without knowing what they said. That unfinished theme became perfect by accident. No words, just momentum. Music that runs, crashes, and laughs at itself, because even silence, when looped loud enough, sounds like meaning. Fact 11. The villain who wasn't allowed to win. Dick Dastardly's curse wasn't bad luck. It was policy. Network executives banned him from victory ever. He could lead every race. He could cheat perfectly. But the ending would always twist against him. Writers begged to break the rule. Hanna-Barbera said no. Dastardly losing was the joke and the law. That made him eternal. He never evolved, never succeeded, never gave up. A symbol of cartoon futility. Kids laughed at his rage. Adults saw themselves trapped in cycles of almost. Dastardly was ambition with no reward, and that's why we love him. Failure that refuses to quit is the purest form of comedy. Fact 12. Muttley's laugh was a mistake. That wheeze, that iconic snicker, it wasn't planned, it was an accident. During recording, Mel Blanc coughed mid-take. The sound engineer looped it just for fun. Schultz heard it and said, "Keep it." It became history. That choking laugh became Muttley's soul. Part dog, part asthma attack. It fit too perfectly, because Muttley wasn't evil, just amused by disaster. He laughed at his master, not with him. That tiny sound carried emotion, mockery, glee. A cough turned into immortality. Every time we hear it, we smile, because Muttley's laugh isn't cruel, it's honest. It's the sound of surviving another failure. Fact 13. The spin-off that lost the plot. When Dastardly and Muttley in their flying machines launched, fans expected more racing. They got pigeons instead. The show ditched cars for biplanes. It made no sense, even for Hanna-Barbera.
I'll get him.
The pair now chased one bird for eternity. Writers admitted they barely understood the concept. It was part war comedy, part fever dream, and somehow it worked. The slapstick was pure, the chemistry unbreakable. Same chaos, new sky, but the message never changed. No matter the arena, Dastardly still lost, and Muttley still laughed.
Muttley, fetch.
Proof that some stories don't evolve, they just change vehicles. Fact 14. Stop That Pigeon, Start That Franchise. Stop the Pigeon wasn't just a song, it was a full rebrand. The theme got so catchy it became the show's new name. Merch flooded stores, lunchboxes, shirts, even cereal toys. Suddenly the villains became stars. Kids loved the losers. It was a reversal of hero culture. Dastardly didn't need to win anymore.
Muttley, do something. I'll give you another medal.
He just needed to fail loudly. The song topped charts in the UK. Fans sang it without irony. A war cartoon had turned into a pop anthem. The world laughed with the cheaters, not at them. And that's how Wacky Races became self-aware. The villains stole the spotlight and the audience never gave it back. Fact 15. Theories of the dead racer. Internet fans noticed something eerie. Dastardly's plane insignia, black crosses. His uniform, World War relics. The theory spread. Dastardly isn't racing, he's atoning. A pilot who crashed, doomed to repeat his failures forever. Muttley, his ghostly co-pilot. The evidence fits too well. His car's name, the Mean Machine, echoes military slang. Even his endless losses feel like punishment. It's fan fiction turned folklore, a dark mirror under all that laughter, a comedy about damnation. Of course, Hanna-Barbera never confirmed it, but it explains why the race never ends.
Into action.
The man who can't win never died, and somewhere in that laugh you can still hear the echo of engines that never stop. Fact 16. Built to loop forever. This show was engineered for reruns. Episodes could air any time. No continuity, no memory, just pure modular chaos. Editors cut tight act breaks. Segments snapped together like toy tracks. Any order worked, any weekend fit. That wasn't laziness, it was strategy. Stations needed flexible programming blocks. Wacky Races delivered perfect loops. Kids never felt lost. Parents never complained. You could drop in mid-race. You still got the joke. Writers leaned into the structure.
Hey, look, wise guy. If you want gas, come in like the rest of the customers.
Resets became ritual. Gags returned like old friends. Dastardly failed again. Muttley laughed again. Comfort came from repetition. That's the secret heartbeat here. Not plot, pattern, television that understands attention. Short, punchy, endlessly repeatable. Built for Saturday morning. built for syndication math, built to run forever without moving an inch. Fact 17. Jokes hidden in the background. Look past the smoke, check the signs. Little jokes hide in plain sight. Fake sponsor boards wink at you. Road markers bend into puns. Billboards tease the racers. Layout artists had fun. They knew kids would miss it. They knew teens might notice later. That slow burn discovery matters. Rewatch value climbs, clips get paused, screens get scrubbed. Fans trade screenshots like baseball cards. Did you catch that? Becomes community glue. Background humor shapes identity. It says the crew cared. It says craft lived between frames.
Hello. Oh, yes.
Jokes nobody asked for, jokes nobody explained. The best kind of humor, found, not announced. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. The world feels deeper. The race feels written. The cartoon starts talking beyond the dialogue. Fact 18. Cars that actually worked. These weren't random doodles. Each car had logic. Designers drafted rough mechanics first. How does it move? How does it brake? Where's the gag? The Boulder Mobile sells weight. The converter car sells invention. The creepy coupe sells surprise. Animators built actions from purpose. Wheels grip or drift for reasons. Gizmos deploy with intent. It reads as engineering parody, but the bones feel real. That's why the motion lands. That's why kids believed speed.
Yeah, watch where you're beep, beep, bang, bang, zapping.
Little viewers reverse-engineered everything. Crayon blueprints filled notebooks. Play turned into design thinking. The show taught systems thinking accidentally. Cause, effect, punchline, repeat. A silly derby, sure, but also a workshop where jokes met physics and physics politely lost. Fact 19. Cell errors became style. Mistakes slipped through constantly. Missing ink lines, colors, jumping cells, characters blinking off model. You can spot them now. HD reveals the seams, but here's the twist. Those errors feel charming. They signal human hands. A team sprinting against clocks. Imperfection becomes texture. Frames breathe. Lines wobble with effort. Movement feels handmade, not sterile.
Muttley, fetch. Shut up, fire-wrestling chicken.
Kids never minded. They felt energy, not flaws. Adults rewatch and smile. The medium shows itself. You're seeing process on screen. Animation as artifact, not polished plastic. In a show about chaos, errors belonged. They matched the world. Cracks that proved the glass. And, somehow, the laughter rang clearer. Fact 20. The sound library that outlived it. Hear that skid? That boing? That crunchy crash? You've heard them elsewhere. Scooby-Doo, Yogi Bear, even later reboots. Hanna-Barbera built a sound library. Effects recycled across decades. Footsteps, engines, ricochets, whooshes. Editors mixed them like instruments. Familiar sounds became brand identity. One squeal and you're home. Audio stitches the universe together. Budgets loved it too. New show, same toolbox. Viewers felt continuity. A studio signature in stereo. Wacky Races pushed the palette hard. Engines layered with whistles. Laughs layered with sputters. Chaos scored with cartoon percussion. That library never really retired. It just kept driving. From real to real. From era to era. Proof that sound can carry memory farther than pictures do.
Drat and double drat.
Fact 21. Japan took the race and ran. Wacky Races landed in Japan and did something wild. Animators there loved the mechanical mayhem. They reimagined the show as toy-driven fever. Kids built miniature tracks and raced plastic dreams.
Sorry for the intrusion, Professor.
That fandom birthed a cultural echo decades later. In the 1980s, a tiny manga and toy craze followed. Model racers streaked across bedroom carpets. Designers cribbed gags and made them faster. It became less cartoon, more obsession. Manufacturers printed stickers and exhaust decals. Stores sold entire aisles to Mad Machine fans. The show's silhouette informed car designs in media. Local studios borrowed the reckless energy. They turned clumsy charm into racing devotion.
Stop him! Stop that pigeon! fun.
Wacky Races taught kids about momentum and mischief. It taught them to tinker, to iterate, to play. Across oceans, a Saturday cartoon became a culture, and those toy tracks still gather dust today. They hum with the memory of endless laps. Fact 22, France made it a reality show. Joke. France gave it a clever twist. They dubbed it into mock reality. Producers framed racers like reality TV stars.
Muttley, this is all your fault. You're fired again.
Voiceovers treated plots like scandalous confessions. It arrived exactly when parody fit the air. French broadcasters edited episodes differently. They added faux interviews and behind-the-scenes snark. Viewers laughed in a new, sharp way. The cartoon became a lampoon of fame. Suddenly, villains got confessionals and strategy montages. It felt modern before modern existed. Critics praised the sly, cultural commentary. Fans loved the added layers of irony. Children still enjoyed the slapstick surface. Adults found another level to chew on. The show aged like fine, mischievous wine.
And so the great Agent Muttley falls into my trap.
A simple dub changed tone and meaning. Wacky Races proved adaptable and resilient. Even dubbed jokes can redefine a classic. And in France, the racers felt oddly contemporary. Fact 23, Brazil's censors tamed the laugh. Brazilian networks worried about mockery. Muttley's laugh raised cultural alarms. Censors feared ridicule of vulnerable people. So they softened and sometimes removed the laugh. The effect was eerie and subtle. Without that wheeze, scenes lost a layer. Muttley became quieter, almost polite. Fans noticed immediately and complained. Producers issued patched versions later on. The controversy sparked debate about translation. What's funny in one culture offends another. The editing changed the cartoon's heartbeat. It showed how small sounds carry weight.
Now let's go.
A single laugh shaped public perception. Brazil taught studios a lesson in sensitivity. Localization isn't just words on screen. It's tone, pause, and breath too. The show survived, but altered itself, and collectors still trade the rare, uncut reels. Those reels sound different. They laugh louder. Fact 24, the reboot hid Easter eggs. Reboots come for the money, but Hanna-Barbera's 2017 revival hid gifts. Animators seeded decades of callbacks. They threaded references like treasure maps. Fans paused, froze, and rewound frames. A hat here, a billboard there. Each nod rewarded obsessive eyes. It linked eras with bright stitches. Designers winked at original gags subtly. Penelope's old accent reappeared as an echo.
Right? Muttley, stomp on the ice.
Muttley's cough slipped into a new scene. It became a scavenger hunt in pixels. That strategy built community and buzz. Viewers posted lists and screenshot galleries. Memes popped like fireworks overnight. The reboot wasn't just nostalgia. It was a dialogue across generations. New kids found history through Easter eggs. Old fans felt cherished and surprised. Reboots can be lazy. This one wasn't. It honored chaos while playing clever games. Fact 25. A post-apocalypse comic rewrote the rules. Some creators saw darker potential. A comic reimagined the race as ruin. Tires burned across deserts of glass. The gruesome twosome became scavenger kings. Penelope led a resistance in pink armor. Dastardly turned into an outlawed general. It was Mad Max through Hanna-Barbera eyes. Readers loved the mashup's tonal gamble. It stripped slapstick and left grit. The art felt violent and beautiful. It proved the world could carry weight. The license bent but did not break. Fans argued. Critics applauded the bravery. Adaptation showed the property's resilience. Wacky Races could be silly or brutal, could be toy cars or survival fables. That comic proved the idea's durability. From kiddie tracks to apocalypse roads, the racers kept driving. They reinvented themselves, and once again the race refused an ending. Fact 26, the grand finale that never was. They planned a finale once, a huge episode, a final lap. Budgets died before the ink dried. Actors sketched endings on napkins. Artists painted concept boards in fever. Studio execs blinked at the cost. The camera would travel continents. Racers would meet at one finish. It promised closure, catharsis, spectacle. Fans imagined winners and losers.
We was just trying to get back into the wacky race.
Did you say Wacky Race?
Then the memo arrived, cut it. They kept fragments and folded scripts. Some story beats aired later, scattered. No one saw the full vision. Archivists whisper about a vault copy. Collectors search for missing reels still. The idea of an end grew mythic. Maybe the show was never meant to stop. Maybe that cancellation saved its magic. Because sometimes a story kept open stays alive. The unfinished finale became part of legend. A final lap that never happened keeps us watching. Fact 27. Storyboards like treasure maps. A box of boards survive time. They smell of dust and coffee. Penciled notes curl at the edges. Artists wrote jokes in margins. Sequence arrows point to nowhere. Some panels show races through deserts. Others stop mid-gesture, unresolved. Historians found them in an archive. Fans snatched photos and made forums. Each frame teased lost scenes. You could see color swatches still. Designers penciled alternate outcomes. One board showed Dastardly crossing first. Another switched the winner to Penelope.
You can't escape Simon Dastardly. Open this door.
The contradictions made fans argue nightly. Those storyboards became a collective puzzle. People traced them into fan fiction. They stitched endings from scattered clues. The fragmentary art built community. A half-drawn panel created entire theories. Those boards taught us to imagine endings. Sometimes missing pieces make stories larger. Fact 28. Dastardly's blueprint in the vault. Some props outlived the broadcast. One blueprint survived in a crate. It showed Dastardly's earliest costume notes. Purple shades, ragged cuffs, exaggerated moustache, handwritten margins blamed theatrical reference points. It felt both costume and confession.
In just a minute, I'm going to be a hero. A rich hero.
Archivists photographed it like relics. Design blogs exploded with close-ups. Artists noted gesture studies and smudges. The blueprint proved origins, not myth. It tied Dastardly to pulp villains. Collectors fought for reproduction rights. Museums requested loan displays immediately. The blueprint traveled to exhibits worldwide. It sat under glass in reverent light. Fans queued to see the sketch. They touched the display with their eyes. Copycats traced the lines for homage. A single sheet reshaped villain history. Sometimes a drawing holds cultural weight. This one did. It kept the legend breathing. Fact 29, Muttley's last recorded wheeze. They archived many session tapes. One reel creaked with a cough. It was labeled Session 19 bloopers. Editors saved it for later laughs. On playback, Blanc hiccuped, then snorted. That hiccup became Muttley's trademark wheeze. Engineers looped it, then smoothed timing. What started as error turned icon. Decades later, the same wheeze surfaced. Producers reused it in other shows. It became franchise glue across properties. Fans later begged for the raw take. Archivists released a cleaned, honest version. Listeners heard breath, strain, and humanity. The wheeze sounded fragile and warm.
You hitchhiker, get off my airplane. How?
It proved voices wear stories on them. A tiny mistake became collective memory. We love it because it's imperfect. A laugh born from a cough lives long, and that sound still starts crowds smiling. Fact 30. The lost world race concept. Art they sketched a world-spanning race once. Maps showed deserts, glaciers, and moons. Pencils drew races in exotic garb. Penelope in a sand scarf. Dastardly in tundra boots. One panel placed a checkpoint on the moon. Another put the mean machine in Cairo. The art felt bold and mad. Budget numbers collapsed the dream quickly. Still, concept sheets survived in drawers.
Come back here. I'm not through yet. Muttley, fetch that scary cat.
Artists leaked scans to fanzines. The images spread like wildfire online. Fans used them for cosplay and comics. It became the most beloved what if, a race across Earth and beyond. No finish line, just breathtaking ambition. The pieces fed lore for decades. They reminded us of unmade wonders. Sometimes the best stories live unfinished. This one drives in our imagination. The world race never filmed, but it keeps the engines turning. Outro, maybe that's That's why Wacky Races still feels timeless. Nobody wins, nobody loses, they just keep driving. A cartoon about chaos, greed, and failure somehow became comfort food. We learned that trying and crashing could be funny, that villains can be lovable, and that the road itself, the journey, is what really mattered. Even decades later, we still hear Muttley's laugh echoing through reruns and remakes, proof that sometimes the strangest, most chaotic creations are the ones that survive the longest. Because in Wacky Races, every car breaks down, but the engine of nostalgia, it never stops running.